All right. Welcome to the Town of Litchfield Recreation Commission meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, October 26, 2021. We are meeting at Town Hall Conference Room and the time is 7:30 p.m. We'll start off with the roll call of members. My name is Steve Gannon. I am the chair. Mr. Andy Ruggles, vice chair.
Present.
Mr. Peter Ames, secretary.
Present.
Mr. Christopher Burns, member.
Present.
Mr. Stephen Weber, Board of Selectmen rep.
Present.
Mrs. Judy Brennan, alternate member.
Present.
Mr. Jeff Town, alternate member.
Present.
We have 7. We have a quorum. We have 2 members who will be absent with prior notification, Mr. Michael Bosky and Mr. Andy Collins. So for tonight, we will appoint both Judy and Jeff as full voting members. Moving on, consideration of previous meeting minutes. We were going to review them. I just got a message from our note taker that he's working. He had an error he's taking care of and asked us to skip them tonight. So at the next meeting, we will review the 12th, October 12th, August 4th, and September 14th. I will dig up those 2 other meetings and send them out so that we all have a chance to review. But those are the 2 that we have been lacking. Public input. We do not have anyone in the meeting room, and we did not schedule a WebEx. So moving on, facility and field requests. We have 3. Litchfield girls softball. Let's see, we have both their certificates of insurance and New Hampshire camp requirements. LGSL has some winter clinics they wish to hold every Sunday, January 9th, 2022 through March 27th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Nothing else is on the schedule during that time period. So I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right.
It's 11.
Any discussion?
Forgot the baseball.
You're having your own discussion? Okay, so let's go. We'll do a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays and abstained. 6-0-1. Look at that. When Mike's not around, I can count.
Yeah.
Second one, LGSL 8U Blast. Is this also winter clinics?
Yes, it is.
All right. This one is every Sunday, November 7th, 2021 through March 27th, 2022 from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Once again, nothing else is on the schedule. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second, please.
I'll second.
Judy. Any discussion? All right. Let's do a roll call vote, please. Signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. Abstained. 6-0-1. Gonna rock right through this stuff. Last one is Litchfield Recreational Basketball. Mike Harney and Steve Silver. We have the camp certification. I do not see a certificate of insurance, so we will need that. I will send an email to Mike and Steve to requesting it. They are looking for Monday through Saturday, November 1st, so next week, through February 25th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The only conflict with this time is the Scouts are in Talent Hall on the 3rd Wednesdays. So they will need to adjust their calendar accordingly. Can I have a motion to accept Litchfield Recreational Basketball?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Any discussion? All right, let's do a vote. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
7-0-0. Thank you. And I will reach out to Mr. Harney and Mr. Silver requesting their certificate insurance and mention that the Scouts are in Talent on the 3rd Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. New business. First one, purchase of locks and chains. We need to lock the picnic tables at the pavilion, and we also should start locking the gate at Royal Memorial Park. We should probably also consider locking the dumpster tops to prevent large items from being dropped in. The lock, doing something with the picnic tables. I've actually got a call from Litchfield Police. They went down there one afternoon or one evening, and the kids were stacking the tables in the pyramid. They took some wood from the dumpster, and they were sitting up in the rafters. So we need to take some action to prevent that from happening. We currently use a Master 175 lock, which allows you to use a key to change the combination. These run for about $15 each, and chain is roughly $3 a foot at this point. So I would like to consider purchasing about $400 worth of lock and chain, which should give us about 10 master locks and several feet of chain to proceed with locking things down. Is this something we have to motion? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
Do we? Because of the price?
No, I think department head, you can sign it.
Oh,
The
you
budget.
I think so, yeah.
Couple $100 over.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, locks are $15 a piece. I think we should also go around afterwards and rekey what we have out there so that we all know the combinations.
So you're gonna chain them all together? You're gonna drive a stake in and chain them? How you gonna
I
chain
think
them?
what we could do is the pavilion has the wood posts.
On the outside of it?
Yeah. And just chain them, I think there's eight wood posts. Six,
Yeah, there's 6 tables there.
6 tables.
8 posts.
So maybe do like a 3 or 4 section of chain and just lock them to the pavilion so that they don't get moved.
I thought maybe the workout crew that worked out there was stacking them for exercise.
I don't know.
There's a group of kids that move them and they have their bikes and I think they
Yeah.
skateboard and bike and jump off them and bounce onto them. And
I've
All
gone
that
down.
kind of
They were
stuff.
on the roof of the pavilion. Another day they were on the roof of the shed.
Yeah.
Mr. Town's gone down when the scouts were there, and they helped break the teepee down. And 2 days later, it was back up. All right, I will proceed with obtaining some locking chains. Rec baseball funds, Mr. Andy Ruggles.
Yes. So basically, we have a couple projects we're trying to get done the end of the year. And with the town, we have 2 funds. There's the Jeff Lane Fund and the revolving fund. The Jeff Lane Fund contains $1,541. The revolving fund contains $2,106.19. Basically, what we want to do is get rid of not get rid of these funds, but
yeah, we want to close them.
yeah, we want to close them out. That being said, we have some work to do at the Jeff Lane fields. I don't know if you remember, we dug out the infield dirt and replaced it. And over time, it's kind of settled a little bit. So we need some more dirt to bring it up so it's nice and level. So we're requesting $1,000 from the Jeff Lane Fund for infield mix, 30 cubic yards. It's all been priced out. Jim Spots has priced it out. What he's proposing we do is baseball will pay for it out of our operating fund, and then we'll just get reimbursed from the town if it passes. The second item is that now that we have this nice field and we want to maintain this nice field, so we're proposing that we take the remaining $1,106.19 and the remaining $1,541 for a total of $2,647.19 to purchase to go towards the purchase of an ATV, and baseball will cover the rest of whatever that costs. We've been using the one at Dara, but it's a lot of work to bring them back and forth.
Yep.
Whereas if we had it at the field, we could just do it. It would be so much easier, because what ends up happening is it goes a couple months and then the organics grow up in the field, and it makes it, instead of a 20-minute project, it's a 2-hour project. So I'm tired of doing that.
And lugging it back and
And
forth.
lugging it back and forth. So
In the nail drag.
So I guess the first item that I'd like to put in front of the board is to ask for $1,000 from the Jeff Lane Fund for infield mix.
All right, is that your motion? I will second that. Do we?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to motion. I'll second $1,000 from the Jeff Lane Field Fund. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstained. 601. Your second motion?
The second motion is to, so just as a side note to that $1,000, that'd be coming from the revolving fund, I believe. That's the 2,100.
So there's actually three funds. One's the impact fees for Jeff Lane. Then there's two other funds. One was from a comedy show. The other was fundraising that was specific baseball and rec together that went for Jeff Lane. So we'd be closing out two of the funds. The impact one is still open.
So the second motion would be to take the remaining $2,647.19 from the two funds that remain, to closing out those funds that will be used toward the purchase of an ATV.
And how much is that total again? 2,000?
$647.19.
I will second that motion. Any discussion? I assume you've already been pricing them and looking and
Yeah, there's so much out there, but
What we're going to have to do, Andy, is figure out who actually has ownership of it. And if the town is the owner of it, we're going to have to get it on the insurance policy.
insurance.
Because if you look at the one at Dara, softball and rec bought it together,
okay.
it's actually listed as a town asset.
I think it should probably be the same.
I think so too,
Because the
since the majority of the
baseball
funds are coming from.
Correct. And baseball boards change and whatnot. I mean, if baseball went away, rec would still own the ATV.
And it'll be stored at the shed down at.
At Jeff Lane, yeah, it's plenty of room. We kind of built that with that intention.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, abstained. Motion carries 601. If you have one that you look at, let me know. I'm very familiar with the ATVs.
Yeah, actually, that'd be great. You could help me sort them out.
All right.
Or you could donate the side-by-side that you had.
Yeah, gonna come up with a little extra funds here. Add a zero to the end.
You said donate.
Actually, donate.
Yeah, donate.
I lost my buddy. John Bryant River Access closing. It's that time of year where we should consider closing the gate at John Bryant Access. Usually we do this around November 1st, and then we reopen it sometime in April or when LFD checks the water flow. So I just want to say that we'll be closing that this weekend.
Just ask about that. This seems a little bit early for me. I thought, I mean, we don't have the issue of water building this time of year like we do in the spring. As long as the snow isn't there, I think
Keep it open.
I don't see a downside to keep it open, but unless others do because of darkness or other things. But I think it still might. Yeah, people still might want to use that for another month.
All right. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think last year we closed it around this time just because I think it was cold and, but it is still, it seems like we're having a late fall.
Yeah, we might.
Do people
have
still
some nice
fish
weather.
this time of year? I have no idea because I'm not a fisherman. Like people maybe go, I've seen people go down there and just sit on the benches
Yeah.
by the water.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a lot of kayaking
No.
going on and with that, but it's still a nice area to walk down. All right, so let's revisit this maybe after the first snowfall.
We'll close it when we take down the tennis nets.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it at the
Kinda
same
I think that's what we did
thing.
last year, wasn't it? It seemed like it was all around the same time.
Yeah.
So I think you two took down the nets and put them up.
I didn't put them up this year, but we definitely took them down last year.
You did put them up.
You and I
Did
put them
I?
up, Steve.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, that was your, that's right. I was down there one day when you were there and down there one day when you were there. All right, so we'll revisit this when we take the nets down. Sounds good.
But I've seen people playing tennis
I have to.
quite a bit.
Right.
So
Yeah, as long as the sun's strong and it's warm out.
Yeah, midday.
Should we clean the leaves up off of the courts?
Again, yeah, probably should. I've done it during the spring, but I haven't been back during the fall. Is it leaves are building up?
In the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Next one is town hall cleanup. I know you and I took a walk through there a couple times. I'd like to schedule some time where we could all meet at town and go through and perform a general cleanup. The kitchen and storage areas are filled with junk. Some of the old paint that when town hall was painted back is still there. I'd like to remove the stove and the moldy refrigerator, and then just basically do a general cleanup.
Yeah.
Is the dumpster still back there?
The dumpster was removed yesterday.
It was full.
No, was it?
Yeah.
Would have been a perfect
Yeah,
place to put a lot of that.
We're gonna have to get another one or a few trucks.
I mean, you can't put paints and refrigeraters and stuff like that.
No, that's right. Because I had mine there. We're
Well,
down on that.
When
This,
do you want to do this?
whenever we can get a chance. It's starting to get occupied a lot, so we'll have to try to squeeze in there. The paint is solid.
Is it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
If the paint's dried, then you can get rid of it.
Surprised the cans are not rusting at this point.
Is there anything under the stage, or did that all finally get pulled out?
I can't tell you that, and I never will tell you what's under that stage.
I know at one time somebody had stored a bunch of fertilizer and everything under there because Dave Mellon personally went into there and had to pull it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anything since then has been put back under that stage.
That seems safe.
Let's go in there on Halloween.
Yeah. So we may want to just stick our heads in under there and
Yeah.
see what is under
The only way
stage.
you can get through is through the access panel, on the right? Because did that big thing pull out at one point and then they screwed it closed?
Jobs like that, I'm lucky I'm such a big guy.
Yeah, Steve, I
Oh.
think you drew the short straw. on this one.
I'll hold you by your ankles when you go in.
Yeah.
We'll get shy to help.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of trying to get it done all in one day, or maybe kitchen part could probably be
Probably
worked
get
on a
most
bit
of
while
it.
people.
I don't think it's a ton of
in
work.
there.
There's not as much stuff as there used to be.
Yeah.
There used to be a ton of stuff. But like even like in the office area, there's that filing cabinet with stuff in there from, the 90s and 80s. Some of it could probably go to the historical society.
The paint could go.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in general, there's a lot of stuff lingering in like the old office. It's storage now. I think we need to do something where we can secure the electronics, so when people are in there, they're not going to be playing. Well, the computers doesn't work and the security system doesn't work, but there's still other things that we should secure. Definitely got to look underneath the stage to see what's under there. Hopefully nothing. But the kitchen area in general is just, it looks like an abandoned mess. It's a danger, and that refrigerator is
Yeah, it's nasty. Did we ever figure out what happened to the mop sink?
no.
There used to be a mop sink back there. Now it's gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? In the kitchen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. And nobody
Yeah,
knows.
the big metal sink, right?
Nobody
It's
knows
not
where
there
it went.
anymore?
It was,
No.
when did it, I feel like it was in there the last time we were in
There's
there.
a kitchen sink, but there's not a mop sink.
There used to be a mop sink in there.
Floor level sink.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Repurposed.
I think ultimately what I think we should consider, and this is actually spoke with Eric Gibbons recently and asked him to come in and show us, some ideas on how to make it more efficient. And one of them would be getting rid of that big water tank on the second floor, put on demand by the bathrooms.
Mhm.
And if we don't need a kitchen sink, then we could do away with that pipe that we always have to heat in the winter. We can get rid of that pipe, and then we'll just have to worry about the bathrooms. I don't see us using the kitchen as a kitchen area ever again. I think it's more just general storage.
In the bathrooms of electric heat, if we just put a thermostat in those, we can keep
Yep.
it,
And that's
50 degrees in there.
he said he'll meet me down there one day and he'll show what he recommends, and a lot of it will be hopefully covered by ARPA. Maybe not the electric heaters, but like all the touchless. We were in there when we first opened it up, and you could hear the toilet running.
Yeah.
The sinks sometimes work. And after reviewing the budget, I expected our budget to drop drastically for the town hall usage, not being used but the electric and the water was still quite high.
Yeah.
For no reason. We should really be able to pretty much cold shell that building at any time we shouldn't have to run the heat and everything else.
I
all
know
in one.
sometimes the
So-
sink in the bathrooms will not be turned all the way off.
They run a lot.
And they're just running. And then if nobody's in there for weeks at a time, it's just running.
All right, so yeah, let's
Maybe you can see if Joe Mick can do something about those ceiling fans too.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was more than willing to come in and kind of,
Yeah.
you know, we can't touch the heating system because we have a contract with that, but everything else, he believes there'd be ways where we
And
can
the
make it
heating
work.
system's brand new.
Yeah,
That was 2 years
2
ago.
years ago, yeah.
but the running those electric heaters and the electric tape and everything else just is there's no need for that. It's waste.
If that's not going to have any kitchen use, which I can't see anybody who would want to even put food in there, can it somehow be arranged where shelves can go in and storage could be
That's what
neater?
I think we should do as well.
Yeah.
You
You
could
know,
actually rip the whole
so
kitchen
things aren't
counter
just
out, the
getting
sink out,
thrown in
everything.
there. And if certain sports things need to be
Yeah,
stored,
almost
then
like
they have their space.
Storage lockers, like you would see in the high school, open air storage lockers,
Yeah.
so you know what's in there, and then just make it a big locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be. All right, so we'll have to try to figure out a time to get down there. Once I dump my dump trailer and fill it back up.
Yeah, throw some dates out because
Yeah.
you know I know.
Yeah.
we have a baseball cleanup, but
Yeah, next
on the
weekend.
7th. But after that, I'm fairly open.
Field maintenance RFP. We need to finalize this tonight and send these out tomorrow. They were supposed to be out 3 days ago. Has everybody had a chance to review, and is there any other edits that need to be done? Are we happy with the way
I
it
got
is?
Jeff's edits and I was happy with them. So
Do we need to change the dates though? Especially if they're supposed to be out 3 days ago.
Yeah,
probably.
because it was November 5th was the opening, right? So
All right. What do we have to give them 2 weeks, right?
Can you get into it on your laptop?
Get into
Can you- that
Dates?
yeah, that field maintenance RFP. Jeff sent it out.
If it's going out tomorrow, then are you going to make it for the 10th?
Sunday, right? November 10th. So it'll be,
10th is a Wednesday.
I'm sorry, I scrolled down too far. If they go out tomorrow, that'll give us 2 weeks and that'll be November 10th. Is that what you're saying?
All right, so let's get to the dates. Here, I'll let you do it so it gets messed up. Since you've been the keeper of the document.
Is this not the hook?
No, just
Ah.
the red in the middle.
Oh boy, what do I do with this? So Control F. So
Then
we're changing November 5th, right?
5th to the 10th. When's our next meeting? Is the 16th? The meeting after that would be the
It'll be
16th.
at 60. Yeah.
We could always have a special meeting if we need to.
Yeah, we might need to.
First,
It actually probably be better because it's kind of a longer.
23rd. Sorry.
So the 10th, I mean, if need be, we could do something.
Our meeting's on the 23rd, I think. I was counting wrong. So,
Yeah, we have the 9th and the 23rd.
yeah. We meet on the 16th. Wanted to act on it right away.
we'll open them on the 10th, right? Open the bids on the 10th.
I'll open it on the 10th and it'll be open for
Why don't we just do a special meeting the same
unseal
day?
the bids.
Why don't we do a meeting the same day, open them in? You can do it all at once.
Wednesday, November 10th. All right. Is everybody at this point okay with changing the dates from the 5th to the 10th, and all edits that have been made will retain. Good with that?
How are we publishing it?
We're going to put it on the web, put it on the town's web, and then we're going to direct solicit companies and send out the RFP, I guess, to a couple local businesses that manage, lawn maintenance and stuff like that, see if they're interested. Last time we did it on, the local newspaper. I think we got 2 responses. Nobody reads the paper these days.
They don't even have a town paper anymore.
No.
This is true. All right.
I would not be able to make it on the 10th.
We'll not be able to make it up.
That's okay.
Oh, sure. Just close that up. Everything.
Okay, bud.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
You have to yell at me.
All right. So we will change November 5th to November 10th, and we'll have a special meeting on that Wednesday to open the quotes or the bids.
Yep.
And make a decision.
What time?
We'll have to look at the town calendar to see who's in here that day. Or we can do it in one of the conference rooms.
Yeah, I would just see. We just have to have it posted that we're having one.
The table,
I mean,
the
if
date
this
will
is
be
taken,
there.
we can even do it at town hall. We can do it in the plan room. We got a bunch of places, community center. It's open on the 10th? Yeah. Thanks, Russ.
Perfect.
So say here at
Can we do
7 or
like
7:30?
7?
7?
Can people make it for 7?
I can.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. 7 would be better.
Okay, November 10th at 7 p.m.
Make it anytime.
Thank you. All right, moving on. We have a member resigning from the Litchfield Recreation Commission. Mr. Andy Collins has notified us this afternoon that he wishes to resign from the Litchfield Recreation Commission. So I will need a motion to accept Mr. Collins' resignation.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to acknowledge what Andy's brought to the commission over the years. He's got a wealth of history that has been a huge asset to this commission and the town, and he's really served, as chair for a couple of years and did a fantastic job transitioning us. So just want to express our gratitude to Andy for all of his service to the town.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
That's the quote.
I learned a lot from Andy over the short period of time, and I was hoping to learn more. But I know he's also an asset that we could reach out to at any time if we have questions.
Should we send him a note or a letter or a card or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We should thank him for his service.
Had to be close to 20 years.
Really.
It had to
I
be.
mean,
It had to be.
Yeah.
It's 15 plus. I mean, it's been a long time. As long as I can remember, he's been part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I can only vaguely remember when he wasn't. So, and that's way back.
All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. Let's do a vote. All in favor of accepting Mr. Collins's resignation, please signify by saying aye.
I
7-0-0.
I feel like I'm voting him out of the tribe.
I know.
I sadly choose to evict Andy.
All right. So this will be effective. The next move is this goes to the Board of Selectmen, and they will handle the final paperwork and the approval. So the effective date would be after the next Board of Selectmen meeting, which is whatever that is,
the 8th, I believe.
November 8th. All right. So along those lines, we need to appoint one of our alternates as a full-time member.
I'd like to nominate Judy Brennan. I think it'd be nice to have a female voice as a full-time member of this board. As you can see, we're very male heavy in this group. So
Yes.
I think it'd just be nice to have a little change up. And
All right.
And I will second that.
Second by Mr. Weber. Any discussion?
I just don't want to be nominated because I'm female.
that's not the only reason.
Okay.
I think you're.
I understand. I would continue to do whatever in whatever capacity.
In
open or not,
addition
but
to
yeah.
your skills and what you bring
Okay.
to the group, yes, I mean you are more than capable of
So
Being on the board.
Thank you.
I think it's a fine idea.
I would agree. All right. All those in favor of nominating Miss Judy Brennan as a full-time member, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain, nays and abstained. 601. Once again, this will be effective after it goes in front of the Board of Selectmen, so November 8th.
Do I have to go before the Board of Selectmen?
No,
No.
No. Okay.
because you've already been sworn in and everything. So
you're stuck.
It's okay.
Although she would just take Andy's the rest of it.
Yeah, so
the Andes, yeah.
yeah, Andy's term was ending in I think March,
Okay.
and then if you stay on, it just automatically renews. Right?
All the reappointments come back at the same time the Board of Selectmen. We just sign them.
Okay. All right, moving on. Pavilion lights, Mr. Jeff Town.
So if I recall correctly, there used to be some lights on the inside of the pavilion a couple years ago. And there's some permanent ones there that are facing the field. The ones on the inside disappeared for whatever reason, vandalism or whatever it was. But unless there was a good reason for them to be gone, I think they would have been useful. I've been down there several evenings in the dark, or I brought my own spotlights and shined them on the roof on the inside so that we could see.
So what are you thinking of? What kind of lights? They were Christmas lights. I remember at one point they were torn halfway down, and I ended up tearing the rest of them down because
the rest of them down.
yeah, they were just stapled. And once
Yeah.
again, the youth of Litchfield decided to ruin all our fun.
Yeah, so we could do something like that and see if it lasts again, or we could get some more permanent lights that are wired in and put a switch on it.
I think you're gonna want something more permanent because if kids are already getting up into the rafters now by stacking stuff, it's
We've run into issues with that with other things we've tried to do, like the security cameras and everything else too. So
Anything
I just think
temporary.
Go for something that's permanent. That's going to be a little harder to.
then all the electrical
So,
down there's been cleaned up
is-
a couple months ago, so we should be in good shape.
So park closed at dusk though?
It does.
I mean, I can see needing
No.
lighting, like when we have
I'm-
Christmas in Litchfield and night things are going on.
It actually
So-
the fence it says 9
9
p.m.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Okay.
Because we were out
I
there
wasn't
one
sure
night
there-
in the dark trying to clean
Well,
up
now
and
it's
everything, and we only had
dark
the
at
outer
4.
spotlights on.
And just
Okay.
because the park is supposed to be closed doesn't mean people are going to stay out of there too, and it is an added level of security as well.
Right.
And some level of lighting out there that somebody might be seen doing something.
So maybe LED lights that are motion, almost like what's in Town Hall. So if there is somebody underneath it, regardless of the time,
It
the
would
lights
come
will turn
on.
on.
What we might want to do is do the floodlights on the perimeter, put a motion sensor on those.
Instead of a switch.
Yeah, right now there's just a thermal switch that's on it. So if we put a motion detector, at least the
Oh, that's
spotlights
a
will go on.
mechanical switch on those.
Yeah, that's a thermal switch that they just have
Oh, okay.
on the back side of in the pole, the
Yeah.
right-hand corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just put keep that on permanently and put a motion sensor in there.
Detectors on.
And then
those.
all the floodlights will go on the outside.
Now there are lights
Yeah.
with, because this is coming up, video surveillance. There are motion activated lights that go on that have video surveillance that don't look like video surveillance. Also, because I just see that, I know I'm jumping,
the
skipping
next
two
item.
things, but
Yeah.
there may be something there too where we can get a couple 2-in-1s depending if we did decide we need video surveillance
need-
there, where we would.
We need our phone's ring going off more than it does
Anymore.
now.
I know, right?
So do we want to include this with the other electrical stuff we were going to do at Talent Hall?
Yeah,
Do it all in one.
yeah, I think that would be a good idea because if we're going permanent too, we're gonna have to have a licensed electrician, obviously, to come out and do it.
Okay.
But I do think it's a great idea.
Add that to that list. So do we need to make a motion to do that?
No, I think it's small dollar
Small
amount.
value.
No,
Until we get the bids and see what they,
Yeah.
or a bid and then see how much
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
correct?
Under $5,000 is department head,
Okay.
I believe is what the purchasing policy.
so we could put disco lights.
We could.
Are any of the ones we're talking about are replacing included in that group of however many are being
That's what I was going to
Placed,
ask.
right? Like
the
there were
thing about
48 or something. There's nowhere near 48
It's the
streetlights in
lights
town.
Those are street
on the
lights.
building,
On the
town
building.
hall.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the exterior lights on pavilion, they may take care of in part of that, but those are fairly
Ones that are
cheap.
already there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
They're just the regular T bulbs
Yeah.
that are on the outside ones. Because we replaced a couple not too long ago.
we may want to consider making them all LED as well. But yeah, let's work that out. We'll come up with a figure and then add that to it and have an electrician take care of it.
Yeah, under $5,000, employees are encouraged to secure competitive pricing with multiple sources. Purchases in this category require the approval of the department head prior to the purchase, which would be you, Steve.
Right, like I said, disco lights. Excellent. All right, perfect. Yeah, let's run with that, Jeff, and we'll see what we can do. Next one is you as well. Facilities and field requests form online that are fillable.
yeah. So Steve, you and I had talked a while ago about making it into it's a Microsoft document file right now, making it either a fillable PDF form or a Google form that then automatically populates a spreadsheet.
Yep.
That might make things easier for reviewing the requests and for knowing who's where when, although that's on the calendar once it's approved.
Yeah.
So I played around with making the Google form. It didn't take very long. People can play with that. It was in the email that I sent out.
It seemed really easy to use.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So much easier than filling out that form.
And it's
instead of getting
printable too. If
twice.
somebody wanted to print a copy of theirs or preferred to
Yep.
do the hand.
And they get it back in email with whatever they submitted comes back to them in their email.
A lot of times I open those submissions and people try to fill it out and
Yeah.
nothing lines up. So
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
what does everything correspond to here?
Yeah. It gets kind of messy sometimes.
I can't remember. I did look at it and go through it. I can't remember if did it say on there that when you submit this, please and submit a copy of your insurance. And
Yes.
because I know we have things like drifting in, we get the request and then their insurance comes in late or whatever. Maybe if we have that on there that they have to submit all.
I put a question on there. Have you already submitted
Yeah.
that form? Because I just copied everything from the current form
Is
as
there
it was.
a way to put on there where they could take a screenshot of their insurance form so that it's part of
Attach a
their?
file.
Attach a file.
I'll take a look. I don't know if we can do that or not, but if we can, I'll do
That'd
that.
Yeah,
be
I
great
don't
if they
know
fill it
enough
out
to
and
know,
then
but
Attach a file and go.
and they could.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to have everything that we need at one time and not trying to figure out what we
I
need.
agree. And then we
Even
have,
though we keep saying, with your, make sure you have your insurance with it or
Yep.
whatever you need, still like.
Yeah.
You have to keep going back and checking. who
most
has
likely
it.
too, they're getting their documents sent to them,
Mhm.
so they could probably just attach them and send
Have it
them over
electronically.
or scan them if they need to.
Yeah.
And then we can put them on the Google Drive. You may notice I started doing folders. We'll try to organize them in the folders so at any time we can, instead of going through a list of documents, there's one for LBL, LRBL, LGSL, and all that kind of stuff. We'll start categorizing it so we could quickly refer to it.
And a lot of times we have them, but they expire too. Like I know softball and baseball are going to expire in February, just the way the policy runs.
Right.
So we'll be in the middle of winter clinics, and we're going to have to get our new ones submitted.
The new ones. Yeah.
But I think that we have a lot of ones that may expire before we know they expire.
Right. And same thing with the camp. I'm still a little foggy on the requirements for camps. I know we're trying to adhere to the state policy, but the state policy is a little foggy as well.
All it basically states is you have a background check policy in place. They don't verify if you do or not. You pay $25 and they put you on a list saying that you said you have a background check in place.
I think 10% of the camps in the state are in Litchfield.
And if you pull that
It
thing,
says worth.
Really?
Some towns don't use it at all, but we do it pretty well.
Is that a yearly or every
Yearly.
Every year?
Yearly.
Yeah.
So every year they should come to us with the request form, certificate of insurance, and some kind of proof that they submitted it. Or
so if you go onto the campsite, there actually is a PDF you can click, and they I think every week they update the latest list.
Yep.
And you can see who's actually applied.
Awesome. Good idea, Jeff. Thank you for running with that. That would be
Yep.
huge savings.
I could put the COI expiration date on there as a question.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to, then we know. And if they haven't submitted it, then they don't know what the date was.
This is true. So COI is a certificate of insurance, not the camp certification.
Right. Yeah.
Next one, you as well. Video surveillance, security cameras. This is a
Yeah,
interesting
so
topic.
that has come up in countless conversations I've had whenever I'm down at the park. And the recent one with the kids climbing up in the on the ceiling joists and things. And I exchanged some emails with John Burnell, and he said, yeah, the system that's there is not working at all, but he'd be happy to work with somebody if we were interested in getting it fixed.
Yeah,
So
I spoke with John as well. I know the system the town uses primarily would want to adopt what the town is doing here. So
Yeah.
these Cisco Meraki cameras, which are nice, but they can be very expensive as well. I think it would be beneficial to have at least one that the town can see from here, and then maybe one that they could tap into if there's something going on the inside of the building. They should be able to view the building from the outside. But then we do need perimeters.
right.
Are they, would they be motion censored or would they run 24/7? Like motion activated or?
Then just
I
wait for-
don't know how he has it set up. But you can set it up either way. You can.
Yeah.
They can be done either way.
I just
go either
think
way.
24/7 is a lot of footage to go through to find
Yeah.
something, but if it's motion activated, you have a lot less
So
footage.
most professional systems will do that 24/7 recording, but it also gives you the defined motion recordings.
Oh, okay.
So it makes it a lot easier to search through
Okay.
video. It's not like the old days of popping in a VCR tape and play everything back.
You need to
Um,
get some night vision cameras out there.
So
Yeah, most of them these days have that
infrared.
capability, infrared.
yeah, so
You catch more
if you're gonna
fireflies
put-
than anything.
if you're gonna do town hall, that's one thing. But are we talking about the pavilion and snack shack as well? Because
I think we ought to look at those.
you'll need some
But-
network out there in order to get it back here. I don't know what's out there. I don't think there's anything.
There's Wi-Fi at Talent Hall. I don't know if it reaches the
No
pavilion.
Wi-Fi. You need a network connection. You need a
A
network.
hardwired connection.
Hardwire?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's power over Ethernet too, right?
That makes that a bigger job.
So I don't know. I don't know much about his system, how he's got it operating, if it's cloud based or if it's recorded locally or centrally recorded.
Do you need it for bandwidth or just for power?
What's that?
Do you need the wired connection for power or for bandwidth?
Both.
Okay.
Can't do it cellular?
Not
John
really.
just texted me. He just said we don't need a hard wire. There are options.
Okay.
He said.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
know much about
He's
the
Mr.
Meraki,
Legend.
but I don't know the system, but yeah, so I would recommend going that route rather than like, a Ring or more of the trail cameras. Even the Ring camera, I mean, I have Ring at my house and it works fine for what it is. But even those types of cameras aren't vandal resistant, so
Right.
kids are going to mess with them again. And nowadays, I think kids tend to know what they are anyway when they look at them.
And I think it'd be nice if it were something that could be
So more
monitored
professional
from town hall.
So, because I mean, the professional cameras now they're weather resistant, they're vandal resistant, they're outdoor rated and night vision and everything else. So you can do ton of stuff with a professional camera that you can't with trail cameras or the Rings.
Right. So moving forward, what we'll need to do is work with John to determine what cameras we need, where to place them, and what can we expand as we go down the road. I imagine initially we could tap into what's being done here, but I don't know, what the service is, how much extra it is, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to need hard numbers to
Get
figure out.
some details on it. Yeah. Right.
But it
It'd
is
be good to put one pointed at the playground from the snack shack somewhere. So and I don't know the range of it, but you might be able to get something there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where a lot of the vandalism happens, is that area.
Is there any issue with children being on
No.
video camera for that? No.
If they're in
Okay.
public, I guess.
Yeah.
And we could do it too, where maybe during
In
the
schools.
that's true. They do it at school.
It's a different world.
All right, thank you, Jeff. So yeah, let's work with John and figure out, get an idea of what we could do and an idea of pricing. And we'll try to see I don't know what we could do this year, but at least next year we could work towards it. And then we'll figure out how many we need and where to put them in. Try to get it more secure.
See what his thoughts are and what the price tag would be. And
Yeah, I
see where we
know.
go from there.
Cisco's not cheap. Okay, old business, pavilion reservations.
That was me again. A month or so ago, we talked about should the pavilion be reservable, sort of like the fields are or Talent Hall is, so that somebody could plan an event for some date in the future and know that the facility would be available for them. I know that was the Scouts have used it several times, and they've planned meetings or events there and got lucky. There was nothing else going on. I know the group that met in Talent Hall last weekend wanted to reserve the pavilion, but we said you can't. So they went to the Talent
I
Hall.
think a few people have, since I've been on the board, requested it.
And I think
That
it
and
makes,
parking lot.
to me, it makes sense. I don't know if I want to make that a motion and get a second before we discuss it more, or.
Yeah, we
You
could do that.
So I'll move that we make the Town Hall a reservable resource in the Recreation Commission.
Did you say town hall or?
I meant the pavilion. I said Town Hall. Make the pavilion a reservable resource.
I'll second that.
Okay, so more discussion?
So if it's reservable, does that mean they need insurance to use it as well?
That was the topic and logically would have to fall into that rule. So
How would a private resident go with that? If they wanted to use it for a birthday party or something?
They'd have to just take their lock and not reserve it. I think it would just,
It would-
that would kind of exclude them from reserving it.
Right, just
So
like,
are we
Town
alienating
hall.
people?
What?
Are we alienating the town by doing that?
No, because town groups are still able to use it as long as they have a certificate of insurance.
What's the rationale for requiring the certificate of insurance?
It's the same as it is if you're using
Any
town
other
hall
facility.
or
It's a
it
facility.
becomes a facility.
Yep.
So I've given a lot of thought to this pros and cons, and I can
Yeah.
see the pros of being able to reserve it for larger groups. But my thought along that line is that it was really built, and if I remember correctly, it was built by a few different groups. It might have been part rec, part, I don't know, another group in town. But it was built for community use, and it was built so that if it was rainy, you could go under there. If it was hot sun, you could go under there. If you were on the playground with kids, you wanted to come under there, have some shade, have a snack. It wasn't built to be a facility or a managed facility. Can't really call it a building, but it's not like Fields and Dara Pond were built as facilities for sports teams, for gatherings, for get-togethers. And I see the pavilion more as a type of just a thing for the community in general to be able to use when it's really hot out or when it's raining, or, people at a game and just want to go sit on a picnic table under there.
And
And I think if there's a group in there and a family wants to come under there and have a snack from the playground or after running around, and then it's like, no, this is reserved. You can't come under here. And I think when it was built, it was, like I said, built not so much for a facility to be managed as it was just for community use in and out as needed, as kind of a nice thing to have there. I think that we have so many facilities we already manage, and the bulk of our meetings are taken with really reserving times and scheduling and what we have, that if we do something like that with the pavilion, I feel like it might be kind of more like micromanaging more than we need to. But then you will have you could have a group come and say, well, I want to reserve the beach at Dara Pond. Or I want to reserve whatever group association town. We want to have our spring outing. We want to reserve the playground and the beach and the pavilion. where those have always been open to the general public for use as you've wanted, needed. Maybe it's a kind of a luxury to have that there. But it's just my thought, it's going to be more to manage for us. And that shouldn't really be, the deciding factor, but then it does open up other things that aren't true facilities that we're going to have to take into consideration. People have asked to use the parking lot, and we don't let people reserve the parking lot, but you could come and use it for your trunk or treat or, whatever it is you want going on. And I just think when we look at it too, we have to look at that broader spectrum of things of how this becomes a different type of facility from the rest of what we do, manage and schedule. So that's just my input after giving it some thought. And like I said, it would be great if you had a group who wanted to do something and you could go under there and use it. But I've also seen groups have a birthday party there and people still be able to come from the playground and sit at a separate table or whatever and play and mix and match. So, I guess if we were doing something like Christmas in Litchfield, so everything basically would be reserved by Christmas in Litchfield. It would include the pavilion, but you don't necessarily say that, the pavilion's part of it, or the beach or the grounds, but, Dara and the fields are all part of it. But I don't know, maybe the board would like to go in that direction too. And
I think 95% of the time it would be open for anybody to use. And I think being able to, for a group in town to be able to count on its availability would actually increase its usage overall, not reduce it. And if somebody can't use it because somebody's already there, you haven't really reduced the usage. You've just resolved a conflict.
So I agree with a lot of what Judy said. And I guess my main question is, yeah, we've had a lot of groups come in and ask to reserve it, and we've had to tell them that it's not reservable. Have they then gone and used it? And if they have used it, has there been a conflict? Has there already been somebody in there where they haven't been able to use it? Are people not sharing it if they're there? Whether it's a group or a private resident, are they not sharing it? I've never heard of any incident come up down there. So I just think it's like Judy said, I think it's micromanaging, and I think it's just an added piece to what we're doing here. Just not to say more work, but I just think it's just
Unnecessary.
yeah.
I know I had asked the question too, like maybe a month or so ago when it came up a couple times, because I wasn't quite sure that rec owned it. I know it's on rec property, like the snack shack for softball snack shack. I don't know what it is now, but at one time it was on rec property, but it belonged to LGSL. They built it.
I believe it's still the same way.
So I was around for discussions when softball was involved in the discussions with a couple other groups in town that were talking about getting some kind of pavilion. At first it started out as a stage and there were multiple groups putting in. So I'm not even sure, unless it was like deeded over to Rec Commission, we do own it. I'm not even sure that
We don't have, you suggest, we may not even have the authority to.
I
Reserve it.
don't know without going,
That's
looking
a good
back
question. I
8
do not know
years or 10 years in the meeting minutes. And I'm not even sure whose meeting minutes. Cause I wasn't involved in that aspect of it, but I do remember it wasn't, softball was part of it. And I don't know what funds they put in. And then there was, I don't know if Rec Commission maybe did do part. And I don't know if there was a women's group in town or something. It was I'm going to say a group of older people because we're all in that. Well, no, I won't say we're all in that area now, but it was some type of club or organization in town looking into.
It would be interesting to see who is responsible for all the property that's at Dara, that's at Corning, that's at Jeff Lane. I mean, it's got to fall into someone's insurance rider. If it burnt down, do you claim it on insurance? Is it part of the town? Is it
Yeah,
part
when
of
the
it?
roof
Like
needs
Je-
replacing.
Correct. Like
who's
Jeff
gonna
Lane,
pay for
we
that?
know is the town because it was
Yeah.
built on impact fees.
Right.
But if you go and look at the snack shack at Corning Field or the two sheds that are there,
Right.
who has that? Same with Dara, who has the concession stand. I know that was donated, I believe, by Reed's Ferry
Mhm.
for the softball program, but
Right.
being on town property, who actually has the liability of that?
Right. And I know that the softball league had to get permission from the Rec Commission to keep their snack shack on there.
Yeah.
But as far as I knew, it still remained the property of Litchfield softball. I was like just leaving softball at that part, and I wasn't the liaison to the rec commission anymore. So it's just like back there that I believe it was a few groups. So I don't even know that it belongs to us.
But I think it'd be something great for all of us to know.
Yeah,
Who
I
belongs
would-
on this property.
Do you have any input, Peter?
Yeah, so I think, I'm sensitive to the fact that it might be kind of over managing and getting a solution to a problem that isn't too big. However, I do think allowing groups to have the planning assurances is a good thing. We have gotten a lot of requests for it, so there's a desire for it. I don't know. It's a great question about what actually happens when they just show up. I don't have the sense that there's been a lot of conflict, but I don't know that for sure. I guess, Jay, I'd ask, I hear what you're saying about like it wasn't built to be a meeting space, but I think practically speaking, it has become that people do gather there for, ceremonies, meetings, that kind of thing. So part of me feels like, okay, if that's what people are using it for, then we should manage it like that, because that's practically how it is being used. I just don't know if it's at that level yet where we need to. And the insurance thing is, I think, the bigger question for me. I don't know how we get around that. I think it would then delineate. It'd be the same as talent at that point. So,
Right. Does it have to align with all the other facilities?
yeah.
We'd have to put it on the facility use form too.
Yep, for sure.
Something
Yeah.
we're managing. I think putting it out there too and seeing it in print might also draw more of that.
Yeah, people could be like, oh,
I didn't think of
I'll
that.
reserve
Yeah,
this, yeah.
we do that.
We would definitely get the requests for the kid birthday parties. Like that would be, we get a lot of those. We already have a lot of talent, right? Or a fair amount for talent, and the other ones. It would say, well,
Right. But there's that fine line too, because we can't reserve it for private functions.
Right.
And if it's a facility, can we allow
It would have to be the same
private
guidelines we
functions
use
to use
for
it? Right.
reserving a field or DARA. But by not having that, if somebody wanted, like I said, I've seen people have birthday parties there
Yeah.
and
It's first come, first
People
serve. It's
go
like
under
putting your
have
towel over
Take your
each
chances
chair.
for that kind of event.
so,
All
yeah,
right.
you're taking a risk, but there's also a lot of space under there. I don't know if somebody's gonna
Exactly.
try to
So,
reserve it
you
for
know,
50
like-
to 100 people. 100 people aren't gonna fit under there.
I guess that would be my concern. Like Judy mentioned is, say you do have like 25 people under there and you're taking them half the pavilion, and then they then say to somebody else that, just wants to sit under there, well, you can't sit under here because we reserve this. Like that would be my problem with it. That being said, I mean, I can see the advantage of being able to reserve it from a group, but I've literally never seen an issue under there before once. Not saying that it can't happen, but I mean, I've seen people under there a bunch of times, and that kind of gets into the question, well, when softball has a tournament there, do they automatically have that under their, is that going to be part of their reservation of the fields to have the pavilion? And that's just it's a lot of management, and we're already thin on that aspect.
We just have to look at it. Do we want to make it a facility that we manage?
Right.
Or do we
or
want
not.
to leave it as a general use pavilion for the community? Definitely, when I really did take some time to think about it and look at it, and it's, if you want to reserve it, then you have to look at it as a facility. If we're going to take it on and be one of our facilities we manage, and, I don't know if that changes things from there because, I don't know, but
All right. Any other discussion?
I mean, I think like Peter said, I think the insurance piece is a big piece, because if a group comes in to request the use of it, and then right behind them, a birthday party comes in to request the use of it, and we grant the use to the group because they have insurance, but then we tell the birthday party they can't use it because they don't have insurance. I think that seems.
I wouldn't tell them they can't use it. I tell them they can't
use it,
reserve
It's
it.
not reservable, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only.
so if you reserve it with a group, you need insurance, but if you're playing on the playground and come underneath, you don't.
Yeah, but then what happens if somebody wants to have a wedding there? Or, I know that sounds odd, but
Well, you
it
can't
could happen.
discriminate, right?
But then,
between groups.
but then they get an insurance rider for that wedding, and
Right.
it's like, all right, well, now they want police details. It just becomes a bigger thing. But I don't know.
All right. Well, we have a motion. We had a discussion. We had a second and discussion. Should we put it to a vote? All those in favor of making the pavilion reservable, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Abstained. Motion fails 160. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Last one, the AED at Talent Hall. We discussed this last week. I had another discussion with Mr. Kelly from the LFD, as well as I spoke with Karen about retrieving the invoice for the work. And there was the actual AED battery was not replaced. It was the 9-volt battery.
Oh.
So that
It was
tape probably
replaced.
cost more than the battery. And he purchased new paddles at that time. So on 121, whatever it was, January 21, paddles were replaced in the 9-volt, but the AED was not. I noticed that the device is gone, and I believe they are going to purchase a new one, and we'll put it back and secure it as is. It is something that we definitely should have in town, and hopefully they'll stop putting it on their rotation and remembering that it's there and doing their daily checks, or not daily checks, whatever they check it monthly. I don't know what their rotation is. The last thing is other, and this is something I talked about before, and that's a joint purchase with the Conservation Commission on a compact tractor. I've discussed this at previous meetings. I'm still pursuing it and have been engaged with one of the members on the Conservation Commission. We've been doing a lot of research and pricing, and we're actually trying to get some governmental discounts because we're a part of a government. Like most things, the supply chain is making it extremely difficult. A lot of vendors don't even have tractors, or they have some of the parts, not all the parts. I do still believe we'll get a lot of use out of it, and would help possibly reduce our overall maintenance, especially where we're going out to bid with new contract. If we get a brush hog, maybe we could pull that from the contract. So at the next meeting, I'm going to actually bring this up as a motion. I just wanted to put it out here at this time so that we're familiar with it. We do have some encumbered funds that we have not used this year that will expire at the end of the year because we can only encumber them twice, and we already did that. One of them is the moving of the gate, and the other one is the back deck. So most of that will cover probably a large percentage of it.
So like that tractor brush hog, I know I hear conversations, you, conservation. Can you, let's say we decided to put in horseshoe pits somewhere. Would that help with something like that?
The tractor?
Or, yeah, or if you wanted to put in volleyball.
Yeah, it definitely
I
could
mean,
because there's
for-
attachments
I
that you
mean,
could
are
buy
there
or
things
rent.
beyond just field maintenance or?
Well, one of
that
the
could be
things, like
what to-
we get mulch delivered,
Yep.
you
Oh,
know,
gosh, yeah.
And there's,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot of work to spread. You can do it in 20 minutes with that, you know.
So there's enough stuff that can be done beyond your routine field maintenance and what?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, typically they come with a front end loader. Some come with a back end, but I don't think we need that. A belly mower, finish mower, they call it. And then the back end has a PTO, and you could have a large brush hog. You can have a rake. You can have
Post hole digger.
post hole digger. You can have a lot of those things that we've been renting and hurting ourselves trying to use. There's something they called, I think would get a lot of use out of it. It's a rock bucket where it's a bucket, but it's actually tines, and it scrapes along the ground, picks up the rocks and the sticks, but leaves the dirt. So when you walk around Talent in Roy Memorial Park, there's lots of downed trees and sticks that are now becoming a fire hazard. We could clean that up. We could clean up along the beach. I think there's a lot that we could actually use it. And if over the years we decide that we purchase it and decided, 3-4 years from now we don't need it, they hold their value.
Where would we store it?
So what we're pursuing is purchasing a trailer with it. And the Conservation Commission was just allotted the old voting trailer.
Yep.
So all the conservation stuff, like the brush hog that's in there now, could go into that trailer, and it could actually go out. So I would say, just like everybody else, let's put it in the old fire station.
How about the shed that's behind Talent?
It
It's
wouldn't
too
fit in
little.
there.
You think it's too little?
Yeah.
Get that in? Couldn't get it in?
No, it's too small. And there's a tiny door. It's only one wide.
I thought it was double door.
Maybe it is, but it'd still be two.
No, it would.
On the
this
parking
thing's-
lot side of town?
The one we would be considering is so there's the 1 series, which is like a large lawn tractor.
Mhm.
Then there's the 2 series, which is more, so the 1 series, they call it a subcompact tractor. This will be a compact tractor. It'll be about a 23 to 30 horsepower, probably 23 horsepower, 23 to 26 horsepower diesel engine. And it could do attachments up to 4 feet in the back. So it's probably about 4,000 pounds. And yeah, it could be wide. It's probably 48 to 50 inches wide.
It will go through the floor there.
It would go through the floor. All right. So it sounds like a lot of people agree that will be something that maybe if we could afford to do, we would do.
Sure.
That helped a lot that day.
I also think, as I said, when we put our RFPs out, I think a lot of companies don't want to cut that scrub grass along John Bryant access.
I'm a little bit worried about that, like limiting our applicants
right.
for
So-
proposal 2.
You just don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may get no bids on proposal 2. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if we throw that in there.
And then we'll just put you on it. We'll put some baby seats.
I would hit it a couple times a year. No problem. Throw my kids up there.
All right. Last one, non-public. We have nothing for non-public, so we can go into adjournment.
Can I just ask one thing under other?
Yeah.
I was reading I've been really trying to get a feel for our property and our bylaws and all that. So I've been on our website a lot and trying to walk through properties. And I came across at Dara Pond. In the description, it says, winding through and around the park is a 3/4 mile fitness trail complete with stations. Does anybody know what happened to that? I've never seen it. And I wonder if maybe with rope course expansion, maybe that got removed, or I don't know how long ago it was that we had playground equipment replaced or expanded the playground, and maybe it was in through there through trees, but it says 3/4 mile fitness trail complete with stations.
It's-
I know
I've
you
been
get-
down there a
I know
lot.
you get private property if you go one way.
And then I went looking, right, and you hit
Both
private
ways.
property. And I'm thinking 3/4 mile would almost go from one end to the other. Does anybody have any recollection of that ever being there?
No.
If anybody knew something about it, it would be you.
Well, I know, because I was like, hey, wait, I've never seen that, but
Because if you go the right-hand way, you pretty
So-
quickly you hit private property.
yes.
You get to about the
And
dock.
and the ropes course is expanded to that side too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I did spend time trying to figure that out. And I know it wasn't there when we added the 3rd softball field because I was around the fields enough.
I've never seen
But
it.
I'm thinking playground expansion or ropes course must have replaced part of that or something, but
Three-quarters
nobody
mile
knows.
is pretty long.
And then it was like,
Yeah,
maybe
I
it's
do.
somewhere else in town. I have no idea, but I think I've been on every trail we have. Nobody has ever seen it.
No, unless it's overgrown at this
Need
point.
Andy Collins.
I was going to say, yeah, we can.
Yeah,
ask
you
Andy
might
Collins
know.
a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe here. I don't know. Okay. I think it just doesn't exist anymore.
We could remove it,
And that,
or we could put your attention to completing it.
I think you should cut a 3/4 mile long so you can make us
the
not,
trail committee. right?
so we're not liars.
Yeah. Trail committee could do that. And then we could get the AARP grant and restore that. All right. I was just thinking maybe it's somewhere in town. I had no idea all these years. I'm thinking it's some kind of expansion that we did there.
I
Would
did
have
read
had
that
to
as well, but
replace
I
it.
never went out looking for it. So
Yeah,
just
I
assumed
went
there
kind of
was
further out, but
some
then I
kind
was
of
hitting
trail
people's
system.
property and I was like, there's
Mhm.
no way it's there.
But it is something to consider, and that's I've mentioned it before that if we had the ability to create one when parents have their kids playing instead of just sitting there, that if they could walk the perimeter and get some exercise.
Walk the perimeter, have, different exercises around.
Yeah, if you it was like a known distance, maybe you could have a cross country
Mm-hmm.
meet there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So, all right, I just wanted to see if anybody had ever seen it or knew where it was, or maybe
Not
it was
familiar.
listed in the wrong park.
Another bit of old business, just very quickly. We talked several months ago about the status of the ropes courses and insurance for those and who had responsibility, whether it was the town or the school. Anybody know where that stand, or is there any follow-up in progress on that?
No, we have had discussions with the town about it, trying to figure out the insurance. you know, that's the big one is the insurance.
Yeah.
There was
Somebody
some people
working on it
down
last
there working
Tuesday?
on it. Yeah, there was some people down there working on it the other day.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, they haven't purchased the insurance.
Yeah, I didn't know either because you and I spoke about it last Tuesday when we were down there. Somebody was out there doing something to it.
Was it Coach K and that Ryan gentleman? Because they're the
We
guys
saw-
with
we saw a truck out there and we saw some ropes hanging down.
the little red truck.
Don't
Red Ranger.
Okay. I
was
can
a week
follow
ago.
up on that.
Yeah.
Poke around. Last I heard, the insurance expired at the end of September, so people are out there doing stuff. The town, my guess would be the town would be liable.
We can
Unless
move
they're
back in with
taking.
Troy because he said it
taking
wasn't
stuff
going to be
down.
very difficult for
No.
us.
No.
Yeah.
So a lot of the conversation will go then from, putting the insurance on wouldn't be bad. And then we have the funds to have it recertified.
Yeah.
And then it'll be working out the details with the school on equipment because they own the majority of the equipment. And then I think folding the ropes course underneath us would be easy. It would be just another organization.
Then it's up to them to just reassign the equipment to us.
And then we got to store it somewhere.
The shed?
In the fire station.
Fire station, that's where everything goes.
It's in this-
We'll put it in the kitchen.
But I still think that'd
Okay.
be awesome to get underneath us, and I think it would be something very, very beneficial.
Okay.
So yeah, let's follow up. If you can reach out to Ryan and Coach K to find out, get their idea on how we can move forward.
Yeah.
And reaching out to the school and the thought if the school be willing to donate whatever hardware they
Who would
have.
be the school contact for that?
Didn't know.
So probably have
It'd have to be the AD.
AD
Yeah,
and
athletic
then
director
go through the school board or something.
I assume the school.
Start with the
It would be a shame to let it go to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say start with the AD and then the superintendent and see which way they go with it.
Because it sounds like the school didn't want to fund it any longer, so I think they'd be willing to hand over the equipment. If
I would
we-
think so, to have,
Underneath
just
our
to
belt.
keep it going. They've
But-
invested in it.
Coach K said that the school wasn't planning to insure it, and they were not planning to use it until the spring semester.
And then they came up asking about it earlier on, but they only had $500, I think, allocated towards the
300
insurance.
of the 1,300.
Yeah.
So,
they-
right,
they
they
was
can't
gonna
use
pay
it for spring
300.
without insurance.
Out of
But they
the-
did,
And then one of the teachers wanted it to be one of the spring activities, right?
Well, it used to be, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they actually came forward to him and he was shocked that they weren't going to pay for it, but they came to him saying they wanted it back in the program.
Yeah,
The night
well,
he was presenting to us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I'll close the loop with him and follow up with school and see where things stand.
Yeah, but because our commission, we can't pay for the fee to get it registered or licensed or whatever out the inspection fee, because then we're assuming liability and we're not ready to assume that liability. So if we could work out all
Right.
the logistics and all the details about how we can acquire the equipment and what it's going to take,
Yeah.
then we can come in front of the commission, make a motion to accept it, and then.
Yeah.
I imagine, do we have to go in front of the board? Probably not, right? Maybe just like bringing up another rec league.
I don't know. The fact that it's on town property, I suspect if something were to happen now, the town would be liable.
Well, that was our biggest thing. And that's why I went to the town
And-
administrator and said, where does this lie?
Yeah. So, and that's still,
He came back with
Maybe
an
he
email
has
to
an
the two of
answer.
us. I don't remember the details of it, but it was
Yeah.
very simple to get it put onto the town insurance.
okay.
And especially where they have insurance when it's being used, the town covers it when it's not being used, basic liability. If somebody gets hurt on town property, it falls underneath that.
Yep.
But if they're on a ropes course and they're not supposed to be using it, they're not supposed to be using it kind of scenario, but they're still.
so Ryan had given us his phone number, and I can give it to you after,
Yeah,
if
I've
you
got,
weren't at that meeting.
Yeah.
As
I've
a
got his
contact to
contact information.
move
He,
forward.
he gave it to everybody over.
No, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody watching
On TV,
go
yeah.
back and get it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some mums at home like, all right, write that down.
Because I think he seemed to know more about the insurance and all that stuff
Yeah.
than
It's on their website.
Kay did. So
All right.
Yep.
maybe you can ask them if there was a trail below it with if they had to pull
See if you can
equipment
get
out
up
of the
there and look
ground in
around
order
for
to
the
build
trail.
it or something.
There's some horseshoe pits over there under the ropes course.
There are some horseshoe pits. I saw
There
those the other day.
Really?
Yeah. They're old, like they're all like filled in with pine needles, but there's definitely the stakes are still there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Just hidden under pine
We don't
needles,
even know
just a
what we
metal rod.
have.
Well, there's a bridge that runs in between.
Right
the
right
two-
over 'em.
It runs right over them.
All right. Anything else?
Should those stakes come out? Is that a
Yes.
It should.
hazard?
Sure.
Probably should. Yes.
We'll just reach down and grab them first.
We'll do them when we fix the slide.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Gonna get me shot.
Yep.
Yeah, we definitely need to get down there one day, and so we need to schedule some time at town hall to clean it up, and then maybe we'll tackle the slide at the same time and get the tractor down there. I think that'll go.
The highway department will help a lot. Cool.
All right, is that it? So accept the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second. Thank you, Jeff. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 700. Thank you and good night.